Good morning, everybody. Daniel Allison, the average dude, along with my friend Freddie Blanton. Freddie, how are you?
Good morning, Danny Allison. Dude, your hair is absolutely rocking.
No, it's not. You're just saying that, man. You got me all thinking about it. Hey, let me tell you something. We've got a guest today, and I'm super excited to have a guest with us on this Tuesday morning, August the 19th. Of course, we love coming here. We love getting our mind right. We love having great. Freddie's upset. What is it?
I ate tacos last night for dinner, and today's Taco Tuesday.
Oh! See, you should have been paying attention. Hey, good morning, Russ Hammond with the two golf claps. I like that. It's 7:55 somewhere. I like that too. Aaron Jacobitz, Russ Hammond, two of the many fantastic passengers that we have that join us on this little adventure. We've done it for 270 straight days, over 1 year. Yeah. Good morning, DJ. 200.
DJ.
And today, we've got a guest, and this person, when I meet this person, when I talk to this person, it reminds me that everybody that's listening and everybody that's out in the world today, we might hear something, we might see something, we might experience something that changes the direction of our life. Right? One book, one word, one something that changes the complete trajectory. It might even make you change your name. You might even have to change your name because you've heard something, seen something, or read something. And the reason that I mentioned that, our guest, who was backstage, but I don't see him, here he comes now, Mr. Antarctic Mike, had that happen to him, and we're going to find out that and much, much more. Let's meet Mike right now. There it is, RTS. Good morning, Antarctic.
Hello.
Hey, do we need to do this? Do we need Fred? Fred's gonna have his drink, so I'm gonna have my little sip too, guys. So.
Well, we didn't know how long you was gonna talk. First sip, let's go.
There it is. First sip, let's go. And Mike, we are glad to have you with us. But I did do that little intro because your story, it was one day in a bookstore. It's pick up one book, and now all of a sudden your name's Antarctic Mike.
It is one book, and this was the picture that changed it all. This picture was the picture on the cover of a book that I noticed. This is going back to August of 2001 in Bakersfield, California, when I was on a business trip. I just walked into the store one day randomly just because I didn't have a book to read. And when I saw this picture, right, I got really curious. And so, of course, I picked it up and I started flipping through it and spent 10 minutes kind of just trying to get an overview of the story. And within that 10-minute period, I got it. I bought it. I couldn't put it down. And then I bought another one and another one and another one. And then I went to Antarctica twice. And my entire life since then has completely changed. And I mean completely changed.
Yeah, I think that's awesome. Show us that picture one more time. The front of the book that got your attention. I remember the first time that you showed that, and I saw you do that in a presentation. Fred, what goes through your mind when you see that picture? They're out there, they're doing something on that ice, and there's a ship there in the background that says "Let Go."
It looks like they're playing either football or soccer, but then you look and you're like, wait a minute, there's a ship right there.
That's
correct.
Right. Yeah. So that it's such an interesting picture. These men are out on an ice shelf playing ball, and there's a ship in the background. So it's a very perplexing, interesting image. And so tell us how the story progressed for you.
Well, what happened was this group of people, they were part of a group of 28, and they had left London, England by ship to sail down to Antarctica, and their intent was to be the first group of people in the history of the world to get to Antarctica and then cross the entire continent on foot from one side to the other. It's about 1,800 miles. But what happened was when they were about 20 miles off the coast, the boat got stuck in the ice, never to be dislodged. The boat got stuck, and the plan was they were going to kind of wait out the winter, and then when the spring came, the following season, the temperatures would rise, the ice would melt, and they would continue on. And that happened in many cases of these expeditions. So when that ship first got stuck, it wasn't like a 911. That was kind of almost by design. They'd wait the winter out, and then when the spring came, they would continue. The problem was the boat got crushed under the pressure of the ice before the spring came. So they never made landfall. But yet they survived. They all came home alive. And
Yeah.
that was the basic part of the story that I figured out within that random 10-minute period before I ended up deciding to buy the book.
And I think one of that was the picture of the boat that they were in, these explorers, and it's stuck in the ice, and
Yep.
and they're kind of killing time there. Now, explain how Shackleton recruited people for this mission. I think that's a very important piece because I think it speaks to how we get people to do things these days.
Oh, well, it actually speaks to how we should get people to do things these days. But I used to be a headhunter. Before I was a speaker, I was a recruiter.
Yeah.
And so for any of you out there that are involved in recruiting and hiring people at your company, it's an uphill battle, right?
Yeah.
So what Shackleton, and you look at the efforts that most of these companies put into recruiting, it's terrible in capital letters, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's no better than a sign that you find in a retail store setting where it says we're hiring. They think that's going to work. That's like putting a rusty nail on a hook and expecting the fish to bite. What Shackleton did was he wrote an ad that he put in the newspaper in London, England. And of course, that was the 1914 version of, putting an ad on Indeed. And so what the ad said was very intriguing. It told a story in under 30 seconds. And it basically said this: men wanted for hazardous journey, small wages, bitter, cold, long months of complete darkness, constant danger, safe return doubtful, honor and recognition in case of success. And he signed it Ernest Shackleton. That ad, that story got 5,000 people to raise their hand with some level of interest. 5,000 people. And when you look at the efforts today of these companies that recruit, they say, well, we can't hire anybody, right? Well, why not? There's something called a labor shortage. And I have to stop myself and I say, a labor shortage? I got involved in a discussion about this with a general manager of a hotel in Cedar Rapids, Iowa one day, because the guy had a sign on the front lawn of the hotel. The sign was about this big, about 8.5 by 11. And it was on a rusty hook and it was crooked. And it said, now hiring. And I thought, and I walked into the lobby and I talked to this guy. His name was John. And I walked in the lobby and I talked to the guy. I said, hey, how's the hiring going? Oh, not very well. Well, why not? He said, there's a labor shortage. I said, shortage? How many people live in your town, John? 75,000 people live in Cedar Rapids. I said, let's be fair. Take out of the 75, take out retirees, moms that stay at home with the kids, take the puppies and the kittens out. What are we left with? 5,000 people, John? How many do you need? No, Mike, it's not the number. Well, then what is it, John? They don't want to work. I had to stop myself and I said, Mike, don't bite. I said, you're right. They don't want to work for you, right? I mean, that's the challenge, right? The challenge in recruiting is all the good people that you want to hire today currently are sitting across the street working at some other company, working for somebody else.
They don't want to work for you. That's it.
The question is, if I'm across the street working for somebody else, I'm Freddie at Bobcat, right? I work for another company. Why on earth would I even consider you? You got to give people a reason, right? Shackleton gave those people a reason, because his ad was a basic story that told these people, hey, there's something pretty compelling here and you ought to consider it. And of course, 5,000 people raised their hand with some level of interest. Whereas in the case of this hotel in Cedar Rapids, that was not a reason for somebody who's really good to say, hey, I want to go inquire about this.
Fred, what you got on your mind? What comes to mind? I'm still thinking about that idea of Shackleton making it a story, making it such a hard thing, and all those people, 5,000 people signed up, and it sounds like you wouldn't get anybody. Why do you think that was, Freddie?
I'm curious. So how would that read in today's time?
Okay, good question. If that was translated into modern day English and I was writing it out instead of doing a video ad, it would sound like this. If you think it's hard working on the oil rigs in Dickinson, North Dakota in January, wait till you come to our company. We're going to redefine what hard is. We're going to make your head spin. But you know what? In the process, we're going to change your life. We're going to help you become the husband, the wife, the parent, the spouse, the person you always wanted to become, but never thought you could. We're going to change your life. I would literally write it like that. And you would get fish to bite. I mean, big time.
Yeah.
I had looking for change.
I had a guy I was at a speaking engagement in Cleveland, Ohio a couple of years ago. And I was on the stage and I showed Shackleton's ad up on the screen and I read it, right? And I was talking to these people. These are a bunch of business owners in Cleveland. And a guy comes up to me at the end and he said, Mike, I have to tell you a story. I run an accounting firm here in Cleveland. I heard you speak 5 years ago and I remembered this ad. So just for fun, I ran the exact same ad that Shackleton did, word for word. I just changed the name from Shackleton to our name. The phone rang off the hook, he said. Right? So you don't even have to change it and it'll work.
I love that. Yeah, there he is. And that was a great question, Fred, because I think that you have things like that, but we can apply it in today's world, right? We can take that same psychology that people want. They want to be. I mean, sometimes people go to the Citadel. You go to the Citadel, a tough military school. You're going to come out disciplined. You're going to come out successful. Or you play for a football coach that's a face mask grabbing, aggressive type, and you come out and better trained for that. Mike, you've been traveling around the country. You've been talking about a lot of different things. When you think about that story that originated way back when, the Antarctica story, what is the subject that you get most passionate about now after years of speaking? You have that Antarctica story, but of course it's gone in many different directions. What's the thing that's important for you to talk about right now?
It sits in this photograph because if you notice, I wrote across the top with a marker to let go.
Yeah.
That's the point of this picture. Let go of what you can't control. Focus on what you can, right? I talk about this a lot. And the reason I can talk about this a lot is because, sort of the backstory that a lot of the viewers may not know is in 1990, I got married to a college sweetheart named Angela. And Angela had massive medical problems from day one because she fell off a mountain in Colorado 2 years before I met her, 150-foot fall, resulting in her bones being broken in 162 places. Well, nonetheless, she lived. But all those medical problems compounded. And I mean, medical problems are like dominoes in a chain. They all impact each other. So the domino chain really started to pick up speed of burning out and crashing in the year 23. And at the end of 23, in mid-December, when we were sitting in the hospital, we knew the end was near. Her vascular system had collapsed. She had blood pressure problems. She had kidney problems. I mean, it was just everything was falling apart. And we knew realistically she was going to die. And one of the things that I found was that my ability to kind of turn around and not fight her, meaning like, let's try to save your life. And I mean, let's not quit. We could get into a whole subject of quitting in a different segment. The point is that I learned to let go of her. She died at the end of 23. And I learned to let her go, meaning I was okay with the fact that her life was over. I let her go, and I learned how to do this from this guy. I owe all of it to this guy and this story because I learned how to do that. And when I talk about this in a live setting, it's pretty moving because I talk about what it's really like to be in a hospital when you know somebody's dying, to be in a
Yeah.
hospital when you see the blue light behind the bed going beep. Like I've seen that. I know what that's like. And then to literally have a last goodbye with somebody. But
Yeah.
then to turn the page, right? Because in April of last year on Facebook, I met a lady named Ellie. And we got into a conversation. We met for the first time in May, had lunch together in Los Angeles, fell in love in July, got engaged in August, and I married her on November 30th. And
That's
you
a,
look at the whole segment of my life during that 2-year period, and people are astonished. Like, Mike, how can you go from this to that? How can you go through something so hard and come out the other side whole? Well,
yeah.
I learned to let go from a guy named Ernest Shackleton who got stuck in Antarctica in 1914. I mean, it's just that's how that story has really changed my life in ways I could have never expected.
I mean, and thank you for that. We went a little overtime today, but there's so much that we love talking to Mike about. That is an incredible story. It started with one little clue that you dove into. Fantastic. I'm going to give Fred final thought. We're going to get out of here.
Hey, here's a prime example of you never know how something will impact you. So keep your eyes open.
Have
That's
a great
true.
day. We will see you in the morning. Let's roll.